Hello boys and girls, welcome to my channel. I'm Obscurian Joe PT, and for today what we have here is Moto Racer 4. So Moto Racer 4 was developed by Artifact Studios and it's using Unreal Engine 4. The publisher behind this team is Microids, so I want to thank you personally to Microids for providing a copy of this game. They have been giving away copies of Moto Racer 4 to all the people on the internet. So let's talk now about the settings. I'm playing the game at 1080p high settings. As you can see, we can still put more stuff to the maximum, but I decided that high settings is better because it keeps us away a little bit more away from the 30s. Okay, so I'm using AMD Radeon Relive to record, and for now I'm very sorry because I can't record Unreal Engine 4 games on full screen. Many games uses borderless and usually I can do that way, but for this game in particular that doesn't support borderless, I had to record with the windowed, so you can actually see the windowed frame on the upper part of the video, so I'm very sorry for that. The performance was the same, okay, that's the thing, but yeah, you can see the window above there, so very sorry for that. So on this video I will be trying two tracks. The first one is this one, which is set on the desert, and the second one is on the forest, which is a little bit more demanding. Okay, so what can I tell about Moto Racer 4? Let's start with the good things. I think the game has some nice things that were quite well done. For example, it is super arcade. Many people won't be liking this, but Moto Racer was always super arcade. And as you can see, we can still pull wheelies out of this in order to gain speed, like the old games, which is nice. And actually, we have now new stuff, like for example, you can tackle opponents that are on the side of you, just like Sleeping Dogs and maybe Watch Dogs. I'm not sure if it was on there, on the Watch Dogs, but on Sleeping Dogs I'm 100% sure that it was possible to tackle, for example, cars at your side, and it is also possible on Moto Racer 4, which gives a sense of combat on the game. Oh, that guy was flying. Okay, which is actually fine. So these are the good things about the game. It is fast, it is fun, it is challenging. This one can be advantage or disadvantage. I think it's too much challenging, so for me it's a con and not a pro. The downsides, well, the graphics and the performance. The graphics aren't that bad, but the performance of the game regarding these graphics are quite bad. That's the thing. So I'm running the game with the high settings. As you can see, the graphics are acceptable. But yet the frame rate is about 45, 47. Yeah, I'm recording with AMD Radeon Relive, which can take like 3 to 5 FPS. But still, I think it's, I don't know, it should be more optimized. But I understand, this is a super budget team, a super budget production, and this is where the main problem with this game is. So the game costs 30 bucks on Steam. This isn't real. I think this is very expensive. This is very expensive for the type of game that it is. 30 bucks. There is also DLCs, so if you want to buy the game with all DLCs, it costs 50, which is a price of a AAA game. I think it's wrong. I think the game is very expensive. I think Microids should lower the price of this game. For me, the maximum I would give as a full price game probably 10 or 15 for this game, not 30s. That is a lot. And also on a sale, the maximum I would give for this game probably it would be like $2 or $2.50, and even that way I don't know. Don't get me wrong, the game is very funny and it's very good to play. It is nice, in fact, but I don't know, the price is just wrong, the performance is a little bit wrong too, the graphics are a little bit wrong too, but the gameplay wise it is fun. It is fast, and maybe the downside for me, it is really the difficulty. It's very hard, but that might be just me, that I don't know how to play this game. Okay, so first race is finished. I will now skip to the forest track and I will shut up myself, so I hope you enjoy the rest of the video. If you want to check the frame rate without recording for the maximum, for the high, for the median and for the low settings, it is on the description of the video, and by the end of the video I will talk a little bit more about the performance. Okay, so hope you keep enjoying the rest of the video, and I do hope to see you soon. Goodbye. Hello boys and girls, welcome to the performance section of the video. So on the first track, which was on the desert, my main thing that I tried to this game, it was to try to reach to 60 FPS because this game is very fast. So I think 60 FPS is important, but the only way to get it, it was unfortunately by using the low settings. And I kept the textures on medium, but the low settings is just horrible. The graphics doesn't even feature any shadow, so it's like reverting back to 10 years ago to get 60 FPS, so it doesn't feel right. So maybe if I couldn't get the 60s, I was trying to get maybe 30s, but the maximum settings it is fine on the first track, as you can see, average of 44, minimums of 34. But the problem is on the second track on the forest the minimum was 30s, so I think it's too low for how fast this game is, and this is just the second track that I tried. The game have multiple other tracks that probably will be more demanding, so maybe the maximum settings is not the way that I should go, but I decided that maybe the best setting it was the eye settings. So on this second track I got an average of 43 and the minimum of 35, so it is acceptable. The median settings are actually a nice boost in performance, but we lose a lot of stuff, like for example volumetric lights, and the lighting feels different and not right, so I decided to stick with the eye settings, okay? So talking now about the consistency, as you can see, for targeting 60 FPS the low settings is the only one that gets close. This was with the data gathered from the two tracks. The maximum settings never reached at 60, as well as the eye settings, it was just 1%. I'm not going to even count 1%. But if we want to target 30 FPS, no setting dropped from the 30s. Okay, so 30 FPS is guaranteed in any of the settings in this game with my PC, which is good stuff. But although this was on the two first tracks of the game, so this might change if another track a little bit more forward on the game that are more demanding, this might change for the maximum settings, for example. So for me, the eye settings is the way to go. It's not necessarily super fast, which is a little bit disappointing. The VRAM usage was around 1.8 gigabytes of VRAM, the RAM usage was at 4.5. Maybe 4 gigabytes of RAM is enough for this game, but I wouldn't risk that. Probably the minimum for me would be 6, but that's really up to you. CPU usage was between the 40s and the 60, and GPU usage was giving its maximum, so no bottleneck. This was entirely GPU. And so, yeah, a little bit disappointing regarding performance. I was expecting to get 60 FPS on a median setting or something, but no, it wasn't possible. And this game is very fast paced, so playing between the 30s and the 60s, it's reasonable, but not the thing that I was dreaming of, okay? So this concludes my performance analysis and gameplay around Moto Racer 4. Hope you did enjoy the video. Hope you did like the game. Leave a comment on the comment section of the video. If you want to support the channel, you know the drill. Be my patron. Provides PayPal. Provide some money to PayPal. It's not the way that I wanted to say. Donate money to PayPal. Yeah, this is much better. Or just buy games. If you buy games on Kinguin, there is a link on the description that if you use that link, you will pay the same price for the games, but some of the price that you pay will revert back to me in order to improve the channel regarding the games. Okay, so thank you a lot for watching, and I do hope to see you soon. Goodbye.